This is a tutorial for the Sinfonia Violin Excerpt, which is from Mozart's Magic Flute Overture. And I would say this is actually a very famous excerpt for professional orchestra auditions. So it kind of showcases this classical style of Mozart. And in this style, I would say the two main challenges that I want to talk about in the video are the bow stroke, and then also the phrasing that you would have kind of in the classical style. So first of all, yeah, the bow stroke, this is like a very typical, even if it's not this excerpt, this kind of bow stroke will be on every single professional orchestra audition. So I can demonstrate. So it's like this very, it's a light piano kind of off the string stroke. And that's kind of what you want for all the piano passages. Another thing to consider with the bow is whenever you have the sforzando pianos, I would do this with bow speed. So it's not so much with like a crunch at the beginning of the note. It's more just a fast bow. So let's see. So the first one. And you can add a little vibrato as well. So less of a like a crunch accent and more of a, think of lots of bow speed. Okay, and then I guess the other thing to consider with the bow stroke is we have to contrast this off the string stroke with the kind of legato lyrical part that we have at measure 26. So it's kind of, all of a sudden we have these slurs, we should have a longer line. So kind of see if we can contrast it to this kind of off the string. Let's see, other things to consider. When we get to letter A, it's kind of just like opening a window all of a sudden. You know, we have, suddenly it's written the same theme in a higher register, and then we also have this forte. So it's kind of the same idea bow stroke, but now at a forte level. So it's as opposed to the beginning. And then, okay, let's see. Oh, one other thing to consider with the bowing is it's not marked in the part, but I think it's kind of standard, is like in the second measure of the excerpt, you would do 2 up bows, the first 2 eighth notes of that bar, and then again in the next bar. So let me play very slow motion from the beginning for the bowing that I would do. So starting down bow on the slur, then 2 ups, then as it comes. So down bow, and then 2 ups, the first 2 notes of the third bar. So yeah, I think that's pretty standard, and that way you can do all these forte slurs on a down bow. That's kind of what you want. Then the other thing, other than the bowing, is I would say the other challenge is the phrasing. And so, you know, especially in Mozart, in all music, but especially in Mozart, everything has to have direction, and everything has to either be, you either want to be going towards something or coming away from something. So one of the simplest ways, like if you have no idea, maybe you've never played Mozart before and you have no idea how to think of the phrasing, one of the simplest ways to do it is actually follow the shape of the actual music as it looks on the page. So like a time when this actually works is like measure 26. I would say, you know, the high note, the F, then kind of, that's the peak of that part, kind of tapering through the measure, and then leading up again to the next high note, the E flat is kind of the next important note. So it's basically, the dynamics kind of follow the range. That's, I would say, kind of leading up again, and then taper this, kind of leading away to the E flat at the bottom. So a lot of times this works. It's not always the case, because I actually think that in measure 42 we have a descending line, and I think it actually should crescendo through that, kind of getting more intense to the end. So So kind of leading through that rather than coming away, I think will give the phrase the direction that it needs. Let's see. Oh, the other thing that's kind of specific to classical music is we want to come away on the resolutions of the cadences. So instead of, like for example, where's a good one to point out is like measure 34, 33 into measure 33. So we don't want to accent that B flat, for example, especially we are in piano anyways, but so let's see. So maybe in some styles we would, maybe go for that, but I would say in this style, even taper away into the downbeat. And it happens a few times. The part that I had just played previously is measure 27, 28, measure 29, kind of taper into that E flat, make sure you don't accent that note. Okay, and then of course, watch the key center. I would warm up with this key, 3 flats, E flat major. And the rhythm I would say is pretty straightforward. There's nothing super tricky. It's a matter of keeping a steady tempo. It's very easy to rush this kind of excerpt. So I would, when you're first learning it, of course, start at a slow tempo, but practice a lot with the metronome. And start to notice where your tendencies are to rush. Like if you notice you're getting ahead, then that's the spot to really make sure that you keep a steady tempo. Okay, awesome. And if you stick around, I will play the entire excerpt.